So I actually don't live at the farm. So I'll wake up in my house. I'll drive 35 minutes to the farm, and once I get there, I do a brief walkthrough just to make sure that everything on the farm is and all systems are running correctly. And right now, since we're changing seasons, everything that was grown during the winter is starting to bolt, so it's coming ahead, it's starting to seed. So we're getting those crops out, and then we're getting new crops in for the spring to make sure we have an abundant supply throughout the rest of the year. I think that one of the biggest misconceptions about farming in 2023 is the fact that farmers aren't entrepreneurs. I think when people hear farming, we automatically go to this old model of somebody with a tractor. A lot of us have heard the song Old MacDonald, and I think we don't look at what farming is currently. Farmers have found very innovative ways to diversify their operations. So we have a Bees in the Trap Airbnb experience. We do a lot of tours. We have a multitude of outlets to sell food. We teach people how to buy land. We have an agricultural academy. So there's so many different facets to a farm that I think people don't understand. But for us to address them, we're just as innovative as possible and as innovative as we can with the farm, whether that's putting out content, programming. We just want to diversify the operation. Yes, I do. I think that we're in a very important time right now where a lot of land is transitioning. And what's so interesting is that all the food that we eat has a story. And I think we are just so busy that we forget that the okra, the collards, how our food is prepared, the kales, there's a relation to who we are as Black people here in America, and it tells a story. I do think that millennials have an opportunity now to get into farming and bring the younger generation in. But I think if we miss this opportunity, I think farming is going to look very different in the coming years. But we have a very big opportunity here to revitalize and repurpose the farm, and then center our traditions to solve problems going forward. So I think a lot of the issues that we see in our communities can be solved by centering the farm, because it's not just the food aspect. You can build homes there. You can build centers. You can build the things that the community needs. And so whenever I'm hearing the real estate conversation for millennials, that's the first thing I'm thinking about. I'm thinking, why aren't we talking about buying raw land and developing that land so that we can center our historical traditions and then ultimately start new ones? Black sustainability, social justice, all those things are intertwined for us. So I think that one thing we have to do is learn the history. Collectively as a community, we don't know the history of how we lost land and how disproportionately that affects us as a group of people. We haven't really embarked on that history. So I think that's the first step for us to learn that history. So that means learning about Sankofa Farms and learning about resources that can ultimately teach you about the disproportionality that we face when it comes to land. The social justice piece is relatively new, but for our generation it shouldn't be, because we've always been fighting for our rights here in this country. So I think that that's directly intertwined. The reason that we're even talking about what we're talking about now about land access is because of the social justice piece, which I think we have to learn and tackle, and then we can move into the Black sustainability. Because if we don't own land and we don't use the farm as the center to solve problems, we're going to be having this conversation 20 years from now, and we'll be looking at, wow, what happened to this push that existed with Black people owning land? So I think that we just have to learn the information so that we can feel empowered to go do something. A lot of the information that we're receiving online, it doesn't empower you to actually go do. It's a theory, and we've kind of fell into that, I think, over the last few years, especially being in the pandemic. But I think it's time for us to go do and implement, create systems that benefit and center us. I think the key thing for us to do as a group of people here is to disassociate ourselves from the noise. There's so much noise that exists for us not to have, which creates a vacuum for us not to know and not for us not to realize what we're going through. We're in a very tough position as Black people in this country. I know that we have models that we see, or we think we have models that we see of people who are quote unquote successful, but that's not representative of the whole population. With us working in the community, there's a lot that needs to be done. And we've traveled a lot, and I've seen it across the board from the places that we travel. We're in a rough spot everywhere. So I think one of the key things that we can do is cut out the noise, and so we can get back to being out in nature, being out and connecting back with our traditions and being connected back to our ancestry and our ancestors. And the only way that's going to happen is if we get outside and we get close to the thing that powers everything, and that's Mother Nature. So I think until we can get to that point where we can start actually thinking clearly, we're going to have a hard time at restarting traditions. What we will do is we'll try our best to emulate other groups of people, because you do hear us always say that this group does this group does that. But since we don't know our history, we don't know that we're the first to do a lot of these things. We've just been disconnected from that history since we've been here in North America. So I think one of the key steps is to cut the noise down, and for us to start centering ourselves and developing systems that center our needs specifically so that we can move forward as a people. If you want to follow Sankofa, you can go on Twitter. Our handle is Sankofa Farms. Instagram is Sankofa Farms. I'm even on LinkedIn. You can find me there under Sankofa Farms as well, or Kamal Bell. You can go to our website, sankofafarms.com, and you also can just do a simple Google search, and a plethora of articles will come up where you can connect with us. But the easiest way to connect with me is going to be on Instagram. I'll respond. I am a millennial, so I'll respond the quickest with Instagram because my phone is always in my hand. So we can be found across every social media platform by using the handle Sankofa Farms.